Hey guys, and welcome to Forex Market Analysis session. And in today's video, we will analyze Euro Aussie period 30-minute time frame. Okay, so what we have on this pair, we have a unified gantlet that is setting up, and if I hover my mouse over this pattern, it says that it appears 64 times in history with the probability of win of 56, and the average risk reward is 1.4. So how do I know this information? How MPS knows this information? It is very simple. It is based on backtesting, based on historical performance. So MPS is a powerful tool to do the market research, and then the results of this research they are attached to MPS as configuration files, and MPS read them, showing you these results and drawing the patterns according to these results. So let me zoom it in. So what we have here, we had some kind of double top, yes, then we had the impulse breakout, then we have some consolidation. So looks like this 0.7 level will be a very nice level for sell. The 0.7 level is based also on historical backtest. So if you guys are new, let me just explain it, how it works. So I call this pattern a unified gantlet pattern. So let me first explain why it is a unified gantlet, what it actually unites. So if you are new to harmonic patterns, harmonic patterns consists of 4 swings, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And if we label those swings, they would be X, then it will be A, XA, B, C, and completion point is point D. So what we expect after the D point completion, we expect price to reverse and hit some targets. So the first swing is called the XA swing, the second is AB, then we have BC and CD. And there are 4 types of harmonic patterns. First, why they are harmonic? What is so harmonic about these patterns? Because of the AB equals CD pattern. So the AB equals CD pattern is this part of harmonic movement of a harmonic pattern. This is the AB equals CD, and as you understand from this AB equals CD from the formula, so AB should be equal to CD. So what guys noticed is that if we have this AB equals CD and it completes at the some kind of Fibonacci level of the XA leg, let's say 786 probably, or 886. So let me add the 786 level. Then we have a reversal. So it is kind of complementation when levels complement the ABCD measurement. And then there were lots of measurement done researching these patterns, and guys actually noticed that if a pattern possesses some ratios, the size of the AB, the size of the BC, and the size of the CD, it will always be harmonic. So, and these patterns were called ideal harmonic patterns. Okay, so this is the general concept. Now let us talk about the types of these harmonic patterns. There are 4 types of a harmonic pattern. So the first one is simple, the one that I shown you. I'm only showing you bullish. The second one looks this way. Okay, the third one looks this way. and number 4 looks this way. Okay, so if we unite them like this, they will look a bit more familiar to you. So what are the main features? So we see that this peak is less than this peak, and this trough is higher than this trough. So this peak is higher than this, but this one is higher than this. So this one is lower, and this one is lower, and this one is higher, and this one is lower. So you see that? So these are structural differences in these patterns. So a unified Gartley is this only, this structure only. Now let us talk about the pattern variations inside of this structural category. There are patterns that are called Gartley patterns, and they were calculated, and they are believed to be 61A of the XA at this point and 61A of the A to B at this point. So these patterns should complete at the 786 and reverse. 786 retracement of the XA leg. So if I stretch the Fibonacci from X to A, at 786 we will have a reversal. Okay, but then some guys did some backtesting, at least they say they did some backtesting, that show us a bit different pattern, which has this a bit shallower level, and they say if we have this kind of Gartley variation, it goes a bit deeper at the 886 level, which is a square root of 786. So if I add the 886, it will look this way. Okay. Oh, my eye is wonderful. So the 886 is a bit deeper, and it gives a bit better risk to reward because it is closer to structure support resistance level, or whatever you call it. Okay, so be it. So we have two pattern variations. Initially it was called a deeper Gartley variation, but then they gave it a name, and the name was BAT. So this was a Gartley, and this is BAT. Okay, be it a BAT pattern. What is remarkable about this pattern is that the guy who actually in quotes created that pattern, it is impossible to create a pattern. Patterns exist always. Let's say discovered that pattern. He registered intellectual property for that. So if you teach this pattern to somebody, you should pay him. His name is Mr. Scott Carney. Okay, so the third pattern looks this way. It is shallow, like a BAT pattern. But instead of going to 886, it goes to 786. Okay, so the guys who discovered this pattern, they actually said, you know, Mr. Scott Carney, although you say that the BAT pattern should complete at 886, we noticed that there are so many reversals at 786 that we should treat this pattern as a 786 pattern. Okay, and they called that pattern a Leonardo pattern. Leonardo pattern. Okay, I was following this evolution of patterns. Actually, they are variations of the same pattern. The only difference is the ratios and the entry. Higher entry, lower entry, higher entry. And I just decided to do it this way. Okay, there's no need to argue what pattern is the best. If you say that these ratios work better and those ratios work better, then probably you did the market research, you tested all possible ratios, and you found out that these ones are good. Because there is one big problem with these patterns. They are tied to Fibonacci calculations, and this is a big problem because Fibonacci is found in nature, and we have pyramids with Fibonacci, we have planetary orbits with Fibonacci, we have shell spirals with Fibonacci, and because of this, Fibonacci is found everywhere. They must work in the market. Why? They must not work in the market. In my neurophysiological studies, I understood that our mind is completely artificial phenomena. So it is not natural. Our mind is artificial. So we are thinking about the categories that do not exist in nature. Something like infinity, something like zero, and we operate with this abstract stuff. So how can I explain it a bit better? The thing that I understand is that our mind operates in thirds, it operates in quarters, operates in halves. If we talk about proportions, we can absolutely, with no doubt, understand that this retracement is half of previous impulse, and that retracement is 1/3 of previous impulse, approximately, or 2/3, or whatever. This is very simple to our mind to do that. Yes, but it is extremely hard to identify a 0.61A retracement, which is 61.8%, a golden mean, or 0.786% retracement. It is even harder. What is it? Is it a quarter? Is it half? Is it, what is it? So our mind cannot recognize these 618, 786, 886, and whatever retracements. And if our mind cannot recognize them, how can traders then trade of these levels? If nobody recognizes these levels, why price should reverse at those levels? Nobody. I understand when price reverses at half, everybody recognizes half, they say, okay, it reversed enough, it retraced enough, now it should reverse. This is very, very simple to understand. So Fibonacci is making these patterns more complicated, unnecessarily complicated. Okay, so I decided not to use Fibonacci, I decided to use decimal calculations, and I united them all into one category, and I call that category a unified Gaussian. So if we remember the labeling, this is X, A, B, C, and D. So what is important here is the ratio of the B, the ratio of the C, and the ratio of the D. Because depending on the B and C ratio, you decide what would be your D point ratio. So there are at least 3 variables in this equation. So the combination of these possible variables will give you pattern variations. Okay, now first let us understand what are possible combinations of pattern ratios. So let's talk about the B point and the C point. So on top we will have the C point ratios, and on the right we have B point ratios. So suppose we start from 0.3 to 0.4. So let's call it up to 0.4. And the B point, we start from 0.3 to 0.4. So the ratio of this 0.4 at the B point and 0.4 at the C point, let it be the A. Then we have 0.5, probably 0.5 here. Yes, so we have 3 more combinations. This one is B, this one is C, this one is D. Yes. Then we have 0.6, here 0.6, and we have 3 more combinations. So they are A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I. So these letters, they stand for pattern variation. So variation A, variation B, variation C, variation D, variation E, F, and so on and so on. So we can continue labeling them till the end. So I did some calculations and I found out that we have 35 pattern variations depending on the B point and the C point. 35. Different B point and C point levels, they give 35 pattern variations. That's not all. Now let's talk about some completion. So if we talk about the completion levels, so what can be a completion? We can enter at 0.6, probably 0.7, 0.8, 0.9, so 4 trading levels. If we multiply them all by 35 variations, how many total pattern variations we have? Where is my calculator? 35 by 4, 140. So it gives us 140. Okay. Now, what else? We can place our stop losses. So where should the stop loss go? We can place it at 0.9, we can place it at 1, we can place it at 1.1, we can place it at 1.2, and so on. Okay, I'm just using this 4 because they give the most common levels. Okay, so what it gives us? It gives us 140 multiplied 4. Multiplied 4. So it gives us 560 patterns. Gives us 560 patterns. Okay, good. Then the next thing is to decide what should be the target. So the target, we can place our target as 1 to 1, 1.5 to 1, 2 to 1, 2.5 to 1, 3 to 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 ways of placing targets. So we have 560 patterns multiplied by 5. It gives us this number of patterns. 560 multiplied 5. 2,800. So this is total number of pattern variations. Okay, and what is the reliable statistical number of patterns that we should test? How many patterns we should find to say that, okay, this works, or we should say that, you know what, this doesn't work? What is a reliable statistical number? It won't be a mistake if I say that this number should be closer to 1000. So in the end we should multiply it by 1000. Yes? So what is the outcome number is 2.8 million. 2.8 million patterns should be analyzed, yes, to find out the best pattern. Okay, guys, that's not all. That's not all. In my market research, I found out that different charts, they perform differently. And when I say charts, I mean that the pair and the time frame is one chart. If I switch to another time frame, for example 1 hour, then the chart is different, and it is supported by my market research. The patterns that do work on 30-minute time frames, they don't work on 1 hour time frame. I mean pattern variations, or maybe the ratios of these patterns coincide, but the trading recommendations, the entry, stop, and targets levels are better be a bit different. You see what I mean? So the problem with statistical analysis of this big data technology, when you collect all those possible variations, combinations, and blah 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 blah, millions and millions of patterns, only then you come up with patterns that show you some reliable statistics. Of course, it is almost impossible to find 1,000 patterns of very specific type of a very specific trading rules, yes, to be it a working pattern. The reality is that every pattern variation, it gives approximately 60 to 120 variations. So this is the most common, 60 to 120. During the 20-year period data, on 30-minute time frame. So with 15-minute time frame, you have more sample sizes for your statistical calculations. On 5-minute time frame, you have even greater sample size, of course, because you have more candles. And consequently, with 4 hour, you have very few patterns. With daily, you don't even have all patterns. You can only judge about this pattern variation based on one example, 1 or 2 examples. Is it okay? No, of course it is not okay. Okay, well, it looks very good. Lots of data analyzed, blah blah blah. How to do that? How can one analyze almost 3 million patterns? Well, the answer is to do automation. You first need to have the software that finds these patterns. Then you first need to have the software that draws the patterns, and then your software should be able to switch between patterns ratios, yes, different B points, different C points, different targets, different entries, different stop losses, and then you do the switch and you do the testing. Okay, I went even further. I created a special software to do the automation and to backtest patterns right now is extremely simple, because the MPS automatically generates the Excel spreadsheets and it writes down all the results into Excel spreadsheets. So just watch the videos on my YouTube channel. I do those backtestings a lot. Okay, and I even made a step further. I created a special software that I call a pattern optimizer that actually does pattern testing. And with pattern optimizer, I don't even need to sit in front of my computer while testing is on. So let me show you the pattern optimizer. So let me first delete the MPS. The chart should be empty. And here is the pattern optimizer. And what it does, I first set the filters that I don't want patterns that have less expectancies than 0. So don't show me patterns that are less than break-even. And don't show me those patterns that are less than 50% accurate. Although they may be good winners, but I dislike to be wrong more than to be right. Okay, and then the algorithm period. And then goes this stuff: minimal stop loss, you see, maximal stop loss, and the increment step. So it sets 0.9, 1, 1.1, and 1.2. So the target, maximal target, increment step. So from 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3. Then goes entry from 0.6 to 0.9. So it goes 0.6, 0.7, 0.8, 0.9, incrementing 1.1. Then goes B point. So the initial lowest border of B point range and the highest border of B point range is from 0.3 to 0.4. And the maximal is from 0.7 to 0.8. And the range is 0.1. That's why it goes 0.3, 0.4, 0.4, 0.5, 0.6, 0.7, 0.7, 0.8. And that was maximum. Then goes the C point. So it goes 3 to 4 and it stops at 9, 10. So we calculate 3, 4, 4, 5, 5, 6, 6, 7, 7, 8, 8, 9, 9, 10, which is the maximum. And then we record that in the file which is called prex. And if we enable that true, then a special configuration file for MPS will be created. Okay, so let's run it. And you see it is doing the work. So we have these dots running. The estimated time, based on my experience, is somewhat, I don't know, somewhat 20 seconds or 30 seconds maybe. I don't remember for Euraud or C. So what it will do, it will create a special file where all best patterns will be recorded, not many, because not all patterns go through that filter of being break-even and being more to have a greater accuracy than 50%. So 57,000 patterns analyzed. You see pattern variations. So 39 minutes. Not a very big number of patterns because lots of them were filtered. Out of 3 million possible pattern variations, lots of them were filtered. Okay, now let's go to the file that was created. So we go to open data folder, go here, and go to files. And what is it? Euraud OC 30 minute. Euraud OC 30 minute. So the file looks this way. Let me decipher these lines. So this is the number of patterns found in history. You see that? This is the B point. Sorry, this is the entry. This is the stop loss. This is the target ratio. So this is the B point, maximal B point. The C point, minimal C point, maximal C point. This is the number of winners, average win, win probability. Number of losses, average loss, loss probability. So the average risk reward and total expectancy if calculated based on risk. Okay. So only those with best expectancy are shown here. So we have 26 pattern variations, 26. Those that duplicate, for example, we may have a pattern with the same B point and C point ratios, but in first scenario it performs good if you trade it from 0.6, but in second scenario it performs better if you trade it from 0.8. So the one that is recommended to trade from 0.8 is chosen here. So these patterns are unique. Okay, and then, as I told you, a special config file is created for Euraud. So Euraud 30 minute now looks this way. So the config file also contains the color of the pattern, it contains the B point, the C point, the stop loss, the Fibonacci, and blah blah blah, everything that is needed for MPS to display patterns the way they were found best performing in history. Okay, so now if we simply apply MPS, it will read that file and it will display all those files. So the one is setting right now, this one didn't complete, this one worked best, and this one was a stop loss. So if we look at this, it was a 50% trade, 50.98, not a very good trade. So just hover your mouse over this pattern and pick up those that are greater than that 50%. You could stay away from this. Okay, I am always asked to give a pattern optimizer to the public. I cannot do this. This is the edge that I've been working for more than 8 years to have that edge. This is something that nobody has, and this is something that gives me an advantage over the other market participants. But what I give the MPS. It is also good to do the backtest. It is also good to display patterns according to that backtest. And moreover, I created a special Telegram group for MPS patterns. Yes, and in this Telegram group, I share these files, optimized files for major pairs. I just don't use them anymore because they are the results of backtest of 2019. I don't use them anymore, but they have lots of patterns in every file. So if we open here, we have this kind of recommendations. If we open this, we have this kind of recommendations. So in many cases they coincide with the files that I have right now, but for me personally, I am rebacktesting patterns almost every day because some new patterns make my statistics more precise. So I include new coming data into statistics to have it. But MPS users also have these patterns, also have access to that backtest, at least the backtest that I performed. Guys like to use the software to create their own patterns, and it is absolutely okay. Some others use the software to trade the patterns the way I do, calculating all possible ratios, all possible variations. So it is also good, but well, the main purpose of MPS is to do the market research. So what I want you to do, guys, is that you do the market research. You don't believe me, you don't believe others, you do the market research yourself. Okay, so now what I want to announce is good news that starting from July 15, we have July 9 right now. Starting from July 15, I will do a discount. I will do a sale for MPS. It will be discounted 50%. So you are welcome to hit the link in description to go to my website, learn more about MPS if you're interested, and remember that starting from 15th of July the discount will be activated. Okay, hope you liked this video. Until then, good luck and good trading. Hope to see you soon.